Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to this price ladder debrief. It is Tuesday, 28th of February. I hope you've all had a good day trading. Let's get straight on into it. Today, I'm bringing you a momentum and absorption play in the Bund. It's a combination of the two, and it's just the main principle I want to get for you guys to get out of it is this sort of idea of when you get this tight distribution, and once you start to move away from it, how you can start to see sort of when that passive sort of absorption in the distribution turns into initiative, and when you can get really nice clean moves away from value as the market sort of seeks new value and moves away from its previous accepted value. But let me just explain the charts so you guys can understand what I'm trying to explain. So basically on the left here we have a 3-minute Bund chart, and the bit of price action that we're going to be focusing on is through here predominantly, this area here, this initiative up move. And what I was just explaining was how you have this really tight distribution in here. From the blue is representing the initial balance and how we sort of distribute around it and just accept value down here, and then how the price action changes from in here. You have this accumulation or this absorption, and then how it looks in this area here. And once we start to move away from value, how we can really have a clean break and clean move. But just to give you the overview, on the right hand side is my daily profile, and you can see here that we had this sort of low volume cave in here on Tuesday, and Wednesday had a very tightly balanced day. We opened outside of value, traded down, couldn't find an offer any lower. We put in a buying tail, originally a buying tail, and then we started to rotate back up towards the highs, and then we had this sort of initiative move up. And I just want you guys to see how, in regards to this profile here on Tuesday, how just technically this is set up very nice for a sort of short squeeze and a like repositioning move in the market sort of thing. So you've got this like net short move here on the Tuesday from when you had this initiative selling and accumulation here, and then the sort of when it reverses, how you can kind of take advantage of it instead of being the guy selling it the whole way, which is something you're about to see from myself. So let's get on into the ladder, guys. Like I said, it's a absorption momentum play. I'm calling it sort of a breakaway from value type play. Like I said, you have that two-way trade, and then once you start to move away, how that looks like in the ladder, and then the whole, just understanding the concept of accepted value and then a market trying to find new value sort of thing. But other than that, it's a passive to initiative trend play. The market environment is sort of high to low velocity, with risk management of 3 to 5 ticks, and depending on the structure, like I just showed you guys, it can be sort of 8 to 12 ticks potential reward on the trade. But let's just get straight on into it. So as you can see here, what I want you guys to pay attention to, what I just showed you on the chart, that we had the current high is at 59s, and there was a swing high at 58. So I just wanted to see how you guys how we start to trade through here. Bear in mind that we have that at this point in time, we have that initiative buying tail in the market. We've started to rotate back up towards the high end of value, and I want you guys to pay attention as to how price action starts to change in here. So as you see, you're seeing these big clips down. Seeing these big clips down, and then you're seeing instant clips up sort of thing. So you're seeing passive accumulation here at 55 sort of thing. You're seeing there's someone willing to take size at 55s and lift at higher prices. It's the first sign of initiative move, of a passive move turning into an initiative move. So as you're sort of seeing this distribution between 7s and 5s, and how you can then position yourself accordingly to this. As you see, I have offers in at 64 and 66. This area here is basically, this is the single print fill of Tuesday's move down. So between 64s between 64s and 66s is a sort of a key inflection point for any short sellers in the market, sort of thing, and also for where longs want to squeeze through. So just keep an eye as to how we trade through here. But like I said, we're still been accumulating through here, and just notice how we trade through the 58s and lift the 9s, sort of thing, how aggressively start to trade through. Side's been clipped up, so the initiative move is really starting to sort of pick up speed now, and then we're seeing the reload. Notice reload into 58s, clips down into 58s, you see it reloaded, and then once you see clips into 9s, sort of thing, lift the 6s, lift the 1s. See there, we got the reload and lift, size into 9s. The passive move that started down between 7s and 5s has now become sort of more aggressive in terms of we're now, at the top end of value. We're seeing initiative, we're seeing willingness to take prices higher, sort of thing. It's that the market dynamics changed in this sense, and that's what I mean. Something that I've been sort of writing down to myself recently is, yes, you have market structure, sort of thing, in terms of the profile is often used so much at the moment, guys, in terms of trade positioning and how you should be positioning throughout the day. And then, so what you need to understand is so right. You're seeing initiative at a certain price, and then you're seeing yourself rotate higher. At what point does this initiative buying in here change? You know what I mean? You're seeing passive absorption here. And then at the highs of the day, at the extremes of value, you're seeing this initiative to lift higher prices, to drive prices higher. I just want you guys to kind of, this is more of a kind of a principle video in terms of, as much as the price action is clean, it's you could get so much sideways on this trade, and just everyone understanding the kind of the overall positioning of the market. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I'm using this video primarily because of how I position myself, and and it's frustrating because I literally sat next to Brendan, and I'm saying to him, how once we had this initial tight distribution, I was saying to him, we had this, days like today. So when you have a balanced kind of day and you have distribution, excuse my awful squiggle, and then you start to move away from the top end of it, and and you build some structure and then move away, that these moves are sort of very strong in terms of that they're strong, decisive moves. And this is something that I said to him, and just how I didn't execute it. And this is something that we all do as traders, and it's something that we have to understand and go over. But this is what hopefully you guys can understand and get something from this video as to we've all done it, we've all seen these sort of things, but it's just understanding. So and that's the thing, when you understand the net positioning of this market at the moment, and just over the last 2 days and after the whole week of how we've been trading, understanding how it's rotating, how we're we're kind of just redistributing positions. So we're washing out one side of the market, and then repositioning, and then moving away from there, and then just doing the same, just washing out from either side to side, sort of thing. And I see it now, we're washing out shorts. And just notice how, now that I've just been filled, just notice how the selling isn't aggressive. Notice how we have this die out on volume. We're only really seeing aggressive buy clips sort of still go through. Any sell clips into the bid sort of reloaded. As much as there is a seller here, there is someone sort of willing to sit here at higher prices. We've just left value, guys, and then we have someone absorbing at the high of the day. 300 lots, 400 lots being absorbed at the high, the new second highest price of the day. And then any clips down, then there's no initiative below, sort of. At what point does the initiative dry up for the sellers? So you're seeing some size clip into 62s. So just bear in mind, you've seen about 700 lots accumulate between 63, 62s, and just notice as to when we next trade into 2s and 3s, how we then go bid, if we do go bid, sort of thing. So right, if there's clips up into 2s, does it go bid, and does it stay bid, does it reload, and does it lift the 3s, lift the 4s, and then if so, how can I get long, how can I go this move? So I got out of some at 1s, I got filled, and notice how notice the bid, we just reloaded the bid on no size, nothing really lifted 2s, anything that was at 2s just got lifted and taken bid straight away. That the passive buyer who was sitting down originally between 7s and 5s is now sitting at 2s and 3s, 62, 63s, and saying, yeah, I want your 127 lots, 278 lots, and I'm going to accumulate here now. At this kind of area, I'm going to sort of start to rotate up here, start to put in some volume up here. 400, nearly 400 lots being absorbed again, and then any clips up into 3s, it's just a sort of a red flag as to any sort of shorts in the market, especially new shorts in here that you need to be wary of. This type of price action. But let's just keep watching as to how we trade out through here, and just note and just remember, guys, the fours to sixes. This whole area in here is the a kind of key inflection area as to where shorts want to defend, sort of thing. And if longs start to press through, you should see a sort of a flush move up, sort of thing. So like you're saying. Like we're seeing just this accumulation in here, sort of thing. If you want to get long in here, sort of thing, you got your long threes. You get long at 63s, and then stop below 61, 60s, and you just kind of you can be quite tight with the stop. But like this is why recently I put my clip back to threes just so. For these type of trades, you can kind of scale in, scale out in terms of. So it's almost better to have a bit more size, just so you can be more flexible with the position. Whereas if you're like clipping ones, it just doesn't. It's very hard to get a feel for the market. You know what I mean? You need to let it auction out the area and understand, right? So we're exhausting at the 61s, right? Okay, so we don't want to see initiative below 61s. We don't really want to see aggressive sellers step in. We don't want to see passive buying start to move away from 61s, 60s, even, potentially 59s if you really want to give the trade some room to breathe. So just notice how we're still here. We've been up here for a couple minutes now, and we're just still accumulating. Any sort of sell side price action is just getting accumulated, reloaded, and clipped up. And then it's when we start to trade through the fours, through the fives, how we can then sort of follow through on that aggressive bid. And like I say, guys, it's just the idea of the kind of the profile is kind of king at the moment in terms of it's giving you so much information, like it does anyway in any given market. But when it's trading like how it is at the moment, and it's all about judging momentum when it's there and understanding when it's not. Like now you kind of like I'm saying, it's just prime textbook trading. How I always explain to you guys. You have the passive buyer step in at X price. You then see it. You want to see two-way trades. So you want to see it trading down into him, and then you want to see how he reacts back up into higher prices. And then so once you said, right, this higher price is now accepted, you want to see vice versa again. So you want to see two-way trade into this price and lift up, and that's when you get the staggered kind of bid sort of thing, like I said, like the steps sort of thing. And then that's the trademarks of just a sustained kind of move, especially when you have such tight value. You're so tightly, you have all this energy kind of in here. It's coiled up like a spring, effectively. And then once you move away from here, it's just, everyone who's, it's people repositioning, people, initiating new positions in terms of, right, so we're actually, there's anyone who's short in here is paying up, and anyone who's actually going to now follow the kind of, the price discovery move in terms of price discovery to new value is now getting involved, sort of thing. And this is the cleanest area to get involved as well, especially when it's so tight, guys, especially when it's so balanced. Once it does move away, it's usually a sustained move. And the thing is, like I've written down to myself today is, you want to be with that move until you're proven. Like, don't get me wrong in terms of the profile, right? So you've got this kind of, when this first would have looked like, so you would have had your profile, and then you would have had, so you've got your profile, and then, so you would have had this big kind of move up, right? Single prints all the way up here, okay? And then we start printing the new print in 8 minutes. And in terms of market profile theory, yeah, sure, you've got value so accepted down here, and you're expecting a rotation lower. I mean, in theory, that's a great trade. And and like how I work, I'm being tough on myself in this moment because because I've seen this move play out today, and the price action that I've liked so much, and it was such a clean move. But when does so right, yes, we have this initiative move and values is set down here, right? But okay, so what happens, once we start to build structure up here, so what point does when does the momentum die out? Like I say, it's all about judging when there is momentum. So in this move up, so on the actual initial up move, there is momentum, there is that kind of staggered bid. You have that staggered bid on the way up. So, and then at what point does that stop, right? Don't be the guy selling it to the clear, the clear buyer in control of the market. Don't be the guy stepping there in front of the train. Let the train stop, without really oversimplifying this. Let the train stop and just understand, okay, so now how I can position myself, I can have a tight wrist, you know, like, there's nothing wrong with buying the high of the market in terms of these move guys, in terms of like, you want to be with the initiative. I mean, like, just look, watching over here, I mean, you're seeing just any sort of clips down are just being bought up, and I was being soaked up and bid up again. Any sort of selling is just being used to kind of just, it's just finding liquidity and just squeezing people out here. It's not doing, there's no real initiative positions being put back into the market on the short side, whereas everyone here is just paying up sort of thing. It's all about understanding the overall structure of the market and how we're trading, how you know, how can we execute in accordance to the profile sort of thing. And like, you know, just as you see here, I mean, I won't keep it too much longer because I think you guys kind of get the principle of what I'm trying to say, but you know, just know it's all about, and once you start to, so you start to leave prices, right? So now you say you start to trade through the 7s, through the 6s, and you have this low volume area here. So just now notice how we start to trade. So we've had this volume pocket here, we've had this volume accumulation between 5s, 4s and 6s sort of thing, and now we're sort of reloading above that, so we're accepting prices above here. We're moving away from this low volume here, we're accepting prices even higher. 700 lots just got reloaded at the second highest price of the day again, guys. Any clips up into here is sort of so aggressive in terms of you know, of you know, the move that you want to sort of go with in terms of, you know, it's you know, don't get me wrong, like, it's coming to the extreme of the move here, but like, it's all about just gauging, like, let the market tell you when the extreme's been put in sort of thing. Don't have to be the hero trying to sell the high in every move like this sort of thing. And as you'll see here, how I'm trying to work out of my position and kind of, you know, I'm like, and as you can see very clearly in this moment of time, I'm not taking into accordance, you know, the daily structure, how we've actually positioned, how this market is currently positioned. You know, like I said, just any sort of reloading clips up, you don't want to be fading at this time, guys. You know, this is all just people paying up, and you know, and just getting squeezed out of positions, and especially when it's such a tight, balanced week as well. I mean, this week as a whole is so tightly balanced and just been distributing between two areas really. That's all we've been doing, just washing out one side and accumulating at one end, and then washing out the other side. That's all we've been doing. And I mean, don't get me wrong, you can trade this market so well, and you can make, you know, you make really good money in it. But it's just about understanding the positioning. You know, do you want to be sort of sitting in this trade and taking all this pain like I'm doing right now for minimal reward, or do you want to be the guy saying, right, so you've been getting long in here sort of thing, and you've kind of been adding the whole way up, and you can, and then let the market tell you, right, I'm now done here sort of thing. You know, yes, there's a level between 66 and 64s, but how do we trade there, guys? Like, yes, there was an initial scalp sort of thing, like 2-3 ticks maybe to nick a thing, but like once we start to rotate there, sort of build structure there, how can we then move away? Where does that passive buyer turn aggressive sort of thing? Where does the move from value fail, or where does it continue sort of thing? And that's kind of just something that I was really really focused on today, and it was just yeah, it was just something that I felt was really clean in execution, and you could have done you could have really got a lot of size away on this trade, this move. But I mean, yeah, I hope that you find that, guys, helpful. For my final thoughts today, I don't know, like I said, there's no right trade in this kind of, there's no, you know, this job is different than anything else in terms of, like, you can, like in that trade there, you were seeing me execute one way, but and you can still make money off that trading that type of way, and there's nothing to say. There's no wrong, what I'm trying to get at, there's no wrong trade in this job sort of thing. There's no, as long as you print green at the end of the day, there is nothing wrong. So like, when, you know, all you can do is just take the trades that make sense, you know. All you can do is sort of understand the general, you know, you can just lean on, and you have to identify what to lean on at the moment. So for me at the moment, I'm feeling that the profile is something that you heavily have to lean on in terms of, you know, don't, like, you need to see a change in something, right? It's like another thing I've written down myself, like, at what point does the price action or the structure change to allow you to say, not go against what you've been told so far, but at what point does, right, so something has clearly changed here, how can I take advantage of it, and then, you know, and where can I execute sort of thing. So like, whereas there you saw no real, like, you had the, in this case you had the, so nothing had changed during the morning when we had this real tight balance, nothing had changed, we just had this accepted value, but then it was all about identifying, right, so at this point in here, when we start to break up and we have that accumulation, like I was saying, at what point in here does this price action change, the sort of thing. You know, you've got this kind of, this is like a sort of, you had this initial buying tail in the morning, value accepted in here, we distributed in here. At what point does it change in here? Like, yes, I mean, like, I mean, because this is something I'm really struggling, you know, not really struggling, but like, and still trying to get my head around in terms of a learning curve, guys. Like, because it makes sense to trade, you know what I mean? But it's just understanding, like I say, you can, there's one thing to pick a level and understand how it should trade from that level, but then it's another thing to actually say, right, we're actually seeing two-way sort of accumulation. There's the passive buyer who was stepping in down in here at the extremes of value is now stepping in at higher prices, and then he's lifting, sort of thing. Like, that is how, you know, you kind of take the trading to the next level in terms of, you know, there's, you know, you have the clear daily structure, you had that clear sort of that volume code, that low volume code to be filled out. And, you know, once you start to trade back into this value area of the day, just in terms of a profile, like, it was so clean. It was, you had that really balanced day. I mean, I'm just drawing this from really roughly, just in terms of, you know, just so you, to actually kind of really sort of drill it in, and then you have that on the Thursday. And we had that test down into value, and we couldn't kind of drive lower. We had the accumulation sort of thing, the build up a pattern, and then once you just, this is just all sort of, you know, there's this you know, it's all positioning, guys, that's just being washed out. Like I said, you had this selling tail on this day, so you had the short side accumulation. We had the kind of the failure to drive lower. We had it's just all this is doing is just in super slow motion. So, you know, and you had this accumulation day here, and it's like a, you know, you have not like a bias, but there's no sort of there's no new information in this kind of candle. It's kind of a very 50-50 candle in terms of you need to wait for new information, new structure to execute from. You then have this kind of day, so you have this new structure where you start to accumulate in here, just underneath the high. Start to accumulate in here, and then once we start to rotate up here, then you can you can lean on this initiative, right? So there was initiative buyer in here. There was someone that, you know, so there's a higher time frame buyer in this market who's willing to soak up at higher prices. So like, all you're trying to do is just, so you see the clear structure, you know how you should be executing in terms of what you've been told, and then just do it until you're proven wrong, right? Don't be the guy selling it up here, selling it up here, selling it up here. You know what I mean? Just in terms of, because it, you know, this is daily structure, but then you're looking at the bigger picture, guys. You know what I mean? Like, on the day, yeah, sure, it looks like it should revert back. Yeah, sure, the, you know, value's accepted so far down here, but let the market tell you when the market that value up here is no longer accepted. I mean, and that's just something from my, you know, something that I've been kind of I use this video today for, you know, just to show you how you can have such a good idea and understanding, but then if your execution isn't right, how it can be, you know, how it can kind of really really frustrate you, not necessarily frustrate you, but just, you know, it's something to learn from, you know what I mean? Like, you do this all the time, it's part of the job. But yeah, guys, I mean, I hope that was useful to you, and I hope you found, you know, you got something out of it.